Some goals today, didn't we? These two gentlemen here scored a hatful between them. What would it be? About getting on for 200 between them for Cambridge United. To my immediate right, Mr. Biley came along in the 1970s and scored 82 goals. And that was a record for Cambridge United until the man on the extreme right came along and beat that record, and he finished up with
lots.
102. Let's say 102. Yeah. So we're going to get into the questions in one moment. I just have one duty to perform before we get going, and that is to call for Mr. Ian Francis. Ian, Alan is going to present you with this. He's your favourite player of all time, is that right?
Is that right? Hold on, I'm all mic'd up here. This could be interesting. Give us a hard picture. Congratulations. Oh, have you? Oh. Is that you? That's my younger brother. How long is that? How long is that?
70 years, 40 years ago. I've been coming there 4 years this year.
That's a good looking couple there.
Tell you what strikes me, thank you Ian, big hand for Ian. Happy birthday. What strikes me is how fit and well these two look.
Has he been drinking?
Only a little. And also how young. Makes me sick. Let's get going. I'm going to start with Alan to keep the questions off. The team, Big Ron's team, then Tom Doherty's team, had a good mix of youth and experience. You know, like myself and Steve Fowler and Briggsy coming up, and Brendan on the youth front, and then you had experienced heads as well. Dave Stringer, Sammy Morgan sometimes, you know. Who was the most influential player, do you reckon, in your time at the Abbey?
Am I on? Am I on?
Yeah, you're on. It's on you.
That's a real hard question, that. I think you get influenced by the older players around you, because you're coming into something completely new. I'd come up the road from Luton, where I hadn't had a sniff of first team football, and was surrounded by people that I'd known and seen play for a decade, like Dave Stringer, for example. But Jim Hall was very influential for me. I don't know if you can all remember back to Jim Hall. He came and spent the season from us. I think he came from Northampton, but he was about 33, 34 then, and he wasn't a fit lad. You know, he carried a bit of weight, he had dodgy knees. But I know after that first season that Ron wanted to keep him on, but he was very honest lad, and he said, no, I can't do another season, I'm finished. But I learned an awful lot from him, and onward as it went into playing alongside other people. I wouldn't like to pick out any one. I just think you learn good habits from good pros and try not to pick up on the bad habits from bad pros. It didn't work with me though.
I think you did. Okay, John, yeah, it is a tricky question, I know, but who's behind the scenes, maybe, in the dressing room? Who were the real influences during your time? Well, thinking first of the first John Beck era.
Calming influences.
Well,
Danny O'Shea.
yeah.
You know, he set about his job in a calm, diligent manner. There wasn't a time when I came, because we all came pretty much at the same time, so we didn't have any real senior pros who were in the team. We had this group of unknown 15, 16 unknown players just put together who just took on an idea and rolled with it. You know, whatever you say, the manager was influential in what he wanted. He was very tunnel visioned in how he was going to go about it. And at the time, you know, most of us were just delighted to be playing football. So we went along with it. You know, and to be fair to John, right, take away the way that we played, we he was a long way in front of some of his time. We all go back and laugh about the cold showers and the buckets of water. You talk to any top athlete in the world now, what they do after exercise, they get in the cold ice bath. He was way in front of some of his peers. So he had a major influence on it, because he brought me here, him and Chris Turner, bless his heart. But in the dressing room, you had the Clancy's and the Vaughnies, and you had Phil Chapel and Daisy at the back, but everyone pretty well drove each other along in those initial years.
Okay, thanks. We're going to throw it open. I have a first question requested. If you'd like to ask a question, stick your hand up after Tom's done with his. And yeah, I thought you might. And Tom will bring the mic to you. But Tom, kick off, please.
Okay, dead easy. Alan and John. Now, we're supporters, we watch the games, but you guys have actually played it. Can you tell us what's it like to score at the Newmarket Road end?
John.
There's something about the Newmarket Road end, period, for anyone who plays. We've always preferred to go on that way, up the slight hill, into the crowd. I suppose if you play for Liverpool, it would be like playing towards the top. And it doesn't matter if it's a particular type of goal, they are all wonderful. And people like us who have good memories of scoring lots of times here, it's what his dreams are made of. And we understand that, and we've lived it. And if we can pass on any of those experiences to people who would like to and haven't quite been able to, it would be a lovely idea. But there is, goals anywhere are wonderful, but with places you've got real affinity to, it makes a lot of difference.
Yeah, it's very special aims at scoring, but for me, I used to look at it and analyse the area, whenever, not just the home grounds, but away games as well, the lay of the land. I know it sounds silly, but for example, Cambridge, I don't know if it is now, but in my time, on each end of the goalposts coming out of the 6-yard, it dipped quite a lot. It dipped a foot or two. Doesn't sound a lot, but if you pull off at the back stick and the defender doesn't know what he's doing, he takes off a little bit lower than he thought he would, and that's why it looked like I had got a lot of headers above big lads, but it wasn't. It was because they were turning me off. Just been wanting to turn me on all day. And that's what I used to do, and it was every place was unique, but particularly the ground here at both ends, it just went, as you went past whatever was far post or the near it happened to be, it just dipped, and so I always looked at that, and if you pulled off, you had the opportunity of catching the defender. But what I'd like to say about just scoring the goals, regardless of which end it is or wherever it was, you think you might not know what it feels like to score, but if you've played at any level, and I mean Sunday school, on the parks, Saturday school, any way you like, if you've been fortunate enough to score a goal, it's that feeling. It doesn't change, it's just the glorious part that you get to join in and be exultant with 5,000, 10,000 or however many it is, and that makes it that little bit extra special. But to the individual that scores that goal, it's every bit as precious. I'd stopped playing for years, and I came out of hibernation to help a friend out in a really low league, and we lost about 5-1, but I scored the goal, and I can tell I celebrated every bit as much. So that's how I would explain.
Just following on from that, we had a guest at the Q&A a little while ago, a man you both know, I'm sure, Tom Youngs, who said, playing at the Abbey, he said it's incredibly loud. No matter how big the crowd is, it's an incredibly loud place. Did you find that?
Yeah, it's very, very, very close knit in terms of being on top of us. Yeah. And it did feel as if the acoustics around the ground just seem to make it very. It's like when you actually play, you can hear a lot of things, what's going on around in the stadium itself. So, it was right there, Tom.
Well, it was funny, we spoke about it earlier, and we said that we saw today we're nearly 5,000, the atmosphere there. But I would say if you've got another 1,000 in here, that matches most grounds. But when you get the really special days or nights, you know, which I'm sure John had many, but one of the most special, and I just spoke to the gent there, was when we played Peterborough, that tabletop, you know, and we managed to nick it 1-0, and there was everybody sitting on the path. I think it was near, Derby was another similar one at the baseball ground. But I'm not just saying that because I'm here. When you've got 6,500 plus, or it gets towards full here, it matches any ground in the country. It's just one of those feelings, you know. It's a long time ago, but I still remember how it feels.
But Mr. Taylor, have you?
I've been 20 years playing, and I've been magnificent every year.
Yes, that's true.
Never bloody won a thing.
That's it.
So I can't tell you what it feels like to be
Yeah, but you've been involved this year.
Well,
That's a fabulous
well, we're still young enough to be playing football, aren't we? So there's always the chance that you could. But even if it's on a table, you know.
Thank you very much. Any more questions, please? I hope so. Yes, at the back.
Hi, John. Yeah, what's it? I'm good, thank you. What's your favourite team to play in? Was it the early 90s team, 1990 team, or was it the late 98, 99 season? So that was my favourite season.
Really good question. I think the second time, I understood how to enjoy it, and I was a bit older, and I had a great relationship after coming back, not only with the supporters, of course, but with Roy and with Prissy, God rest his soul. My favourite game of all time that I ever played in was when we won 2-0 away at Rochdale on that night when Chesterfield got beat. I think it was Chesterfield Hartlepool. Probably the second time, because I think I appreciate what we've achieved more after going through what we'd achieved before, and also being relegated with Bristol Rovers. So, yeah, probably. I'll go with the second time. Yeah, both completely different sets of players, completely different styles. Yeah, the second side, I really enjoyed it.
Terry.
Right, can I ask, well, I'll have to ask you both separately, what's the best goal, I'll ask Alan first, what's the best goal you ever scored at United? Or what you consider the best goal?
We played Palace down here, and Kenny Sampson was playing, and
FA Cup, was that?
and I roasted him down the right flank, and this is how I remembered it. And the ball stood
He
up,
only ever remembers his good goals, doesn't he?
and I was 40 yards out, and I volleyed it in the top corner. But it was something similar to that, but it was a little bit closer, maybe 5 yards. The best was always the first, I have to say, because I was really fortunate to be able to be part of the club. We had a great pre-season, found myself subbed at Doncaster away in the first game of the season, and managed to get on as sub and scored a header in that game. And that's got to be the best one ever, because it starts you off. However confident you are and however flamboyant you think people are, that first one, then you know you can do it, and you don't have any doubts. And Ron Atkinson was true to his word. He said that if you're good enough, you'll be in. And I got on as sub, and the next game I played, and I stayed in then for as long as I was fit. But they're all. John will tell you though. John will tell you that I can't swear because there's ladies here. I'll say bum. If it shoots in off your bum, it's a great goal, and you claim it. Because that's what you do, you know. When you're a goal scorer, you claim it, because it's an important part. You've got to do your own stuff for the team, and you've not got to be a prima donna. You've got to work very hard. But I'm sure John will say the same. That for me, it was all about. I expected to score the next game. 11,000 that day. Well, that would match anywhere that I've ever played. even a derby, a Liverpool derby, or that would match that, because what John said, there is an intensity about it, and it's a closely knit, and you think you're on top of it. So it's just wonderful. Yeah, wonderful.
Well, gentlemen, it's wonderful to see you both here today. Two heroes of Cambridge United on a lovely end of the season, 5-0 win. You've slightly stolen my thunder there, Alan.
I did help.
Oh, you did? Yeah, I know you did. I know you did. But it's lovely to see you walking down the path there. You've still got the Rod Stewart haircut. It looks great. You talked a lot about the goals at the Newmarket Road end, but you mentioned the one against Peterborough there. I remember it. I was 15 years old or whatever. Talk us through that goal and what it felt like to score that goal. Because it was a 1-0 win, wasn't it?
And I thought it was a wonderful goal.
I wouldn't disagree, I've got to be honest.
No, from what I can remember, Peterborough had two big centre-halves. One of them was Chris Turner. But I slipped him and I pulled away from him back stick. And the other centre-half was in front. Chris was in front. And I pulled back, and as I done that, I went across the other centre-half and just got above him, and it was slightly glancing. And I think it was about 12 yards out, and it was just a wonderful feeling. But that was probably the loudest roar I've ever heard here of any game I've ever played. I mean, the atmosphere was just mind-blowing. And to be part of it, let alone to be lucky enough to score the important winner, was fantastic. So I couldn't tell you who crossed it. There's always people who are trying to claim it. Willie Watson said he made my career, so I'll give it to Willie. I don't know.
Okay, another question. Don't be shy. Gentleman over here.
Which players caught your eye this season? I mean, Greg Taylor got player of the season. Was that a surprise to you?
Okay, so I've only been here 3 times.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Derek Christie is coming to the
man. Now, I'll tell you something, his haircut's never changed.
I had here, shut up. So it's difficult for me to give you an opinion. I know Alan's only been a couple of times as well. You look at today's performance, you've got 4 or 5 very good talented boys. Your centre-half plays well. The chap you got in midfield now the match today, he ran the show for 60 minutes or so until he got the time. The right back, the right winger looks like he's got something about him drifting in off that right flank. So there's lots of things to look forward to. I can't tell you these things. I haven't seen enough of it yet. We definitely know more than that. But I would suggest
Most players were very surprised that Maris didn't get player of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you can, on today's performance, I could see why he would be, top of a lot of people's lists. And if, I don't know how he's played consistently like that, then you're looking, you'd be surprised, possibly, God forbid. But from, when you're looking to move on, I don't know how he's contracted in, but if he's played like that for most of the season, he'll be, might be lucky to keep him. Because he was, he ran the show for an hour, didn't he? Maybe he got a little bit tired, I don't know. Maybe that's his, because he gets substituted a bit, doesn't he? No. Wrong information I've got there.
Either of you, are either of you that think that have you won Player of the Year at other clubs that you've been with rather than at Cambridge United or so?
I was fortunate enough to win it at Portsmouth.
And was that related to how many matches you played?
Well, I was really lucky. I very rarely missed any matches.
Yes.
I mean, I started here. I was really unlucky. I think in the 4th game I broke my leg. And I was out for 6-7 months, but I came back at the back end of that. But I think throughout my career I've averaged 40 plus games a year. So I don't think it's down to how many you've played. I think you'd have to play at least 25 to warrant, because you might be brought into the club or come back from injury midway through the season and give 25 and been outstanding in what you've done for the club, and then merit being given player of the season. But it's a great honour. It's a great honour, really is.
Yeah, especially at Portsmouth.
Well, it's another club that I'm very close to.
Yeah, there's a lot of atmosphere at that ground when I visited when Cambridge United have been playing, even though when we haven't actually won.
Well, that's what I can say sort of first hand, that going and play, and if we could have won 5-0, but I'd have been disappointed I didn't score. And for me, the best goal was always the goal when you scored it and you got the team a point, where you won the game, not the fourth in a 5-0 win.
Right, if I could put a similar question to John here.
That wouldn't have been the fifth that I chipped in the FA Cup then.
Yeah.
Okay, I suppose they're the ones that you remember. So I remember that my first one ever in a pre-season game here against Leicester City, up here. And I remember 2 I scored against Southend at home in a 3-0 win. First time round. The first was a throw in, chested it inside, hit it down this end, 30 odd yards. And the other one was Jamie Campbell knocked a crossfield ball to me on the edge of the box, controlled it, let it bounce and just chipped on the goal. Bristol City, the fifth. But they're the goals that you remember. The penalty at Rochdale that bobbled in twice. Or that bone hard pitch. You can just remember the ones that not only matter to you, but to matter to so many other people that can remember. So that's how I say to you. Whenever you score, always wants to remember the 100th goal at Cardiff.
I think that's right. What he said is it's poignant moments. Just whilst Tom was talking now, I just thought of another one. We've been fortunate enough to win the fourth, run us up in the third, found ourselves in the second division. And I think our first away game that season was away at Leicester. I think David Webb was their skipper, and we were 1-0 down, and I managed to score in the last few minutes to get a 1-1 draw. But that was my first goal in the old second division, and it's an important one because you know you can do it, and it just sets you up then to go on and think, you know, you're indestructible like. So.
Great stuff, thank you. So another question, please. Yeah. Yes, on the left here, Tom, please. We'll come back to you. I don't want you to monopolise the compliment.
What was your sort of penalty routine? Because I always remember it as sort of head down, fast bowlers run up, you know, and never in doubt.
Well, I'd never get away with it now. The truth is I'd never get away with it because they'd all be saved. Because I put them in exactly the same place. And I just set the ball up right to have, I think it was Surridge the balls then. Surridge. And I lined it up on the S. And I knew if I struck my foot on the right part of that in the right way at the right pace, within a foot square, it would go where I want it to go. And the whole head down was that I was over it, so it never got above, because the keeper always had to go down to it. So nowadays, keepers would analyse it far more, and I'd have to change, and I'd have to get on the training ground.
And because obviously there you're running past most of the other players as well, because you're taking quite a run up.
Yeah, well, that was another thing. I always thought that might scare the keeper, but by the time I got there,
but you never got any sledging, or you didn't get any sledging on the way in from defenders or what?
I think John Teller, you got that anyway. Nobody took a penalty without. That's another thing about penalty takers. There's all different types of bravery, you know, and bottle, and you'll get the biggest, hardest, toughest centre halves that won't go near a penalty, even if you're 3-0 up. And I think that's a different type of mentality as well. So it's something that, again, I do think it's a goal scoring thing, that you have to have that little bit of total belief, and it just doesn't worry you. The best thing about a striker, a goal scoring striker, is they never fear about missing. They just think about the next chance and the next chance. Those that let it worry you, it won't happen for them.
Is that okay? Yeah?
Yep, thank you.
You took a few penalties, didn't you? Yeah, 1 or 2.
Yeah, what about Gills on?
I want to know more about the bobbler.
Oh, the bobbler. Okay, well the bobbler,
Yeah.
right, this is a true story about the bobbler.
Talk us through the game first. How did it sit?
Okay, so we batted them, right? We batted them for the best part of 75 minutes. And we'd heard that whoever it was, I can't remember whether it was Hartlepool or the other team I mentioned, they were getting beat. So that meant that we were going to get promoted if we won, away at Rochdale with about 4 games to go. and in the end we lost the league to Brentford, but we got promoted that night. So Roy tells me to go and get warmed up. 10 minutes to go, I'm come on. Their goalkeeper launches the ball, gets flicked on by Trevor. No, Trevor, yeah, gets some, I think Martin goes down, penalty. Right? Martin goes and gets the ball. Now Martin Butler, that year, he was by far our best player. He was absolutely chased.
Oh, you're 0-0 at this stage?
We're 0-0.
Right.
And he chases rabbits everywhere. He takes penalties and he slots in there and he was marvellous, right? And he picks the ball up, and he walks towards me and he goes, "Here you are, John." and this is the thing about, you talk about penalty. I didn't really want to take it.
Right.
I did not really want to take it because I missed it. You know, in fact, I probably missed more than I scored. But it was just that one where he said, "Listen, you're the senior front here, it's so much you." Luckily, it bowled in twice on the rock I pitched. Goalie went the wrong way and it just
Yeah, 20 was a great penalty taker, wasn't he?
yes,
The first time.
I think he's been a bit humble because Trinity, he always put them in the same place as well, didn't he? And he hardly ever missed. And I don't think many people would get to his this day, so I'm not sure many would say that as well.
Okay, another question, please. Yes. Alan, could you...
You've talked about when it's between you scored so hatfuls of goals. Two questions really. Did you ever go through a barren spell when you didn't score, and how did you get over that? And if you didn't, how would you encourage a young player who needs to get back on the scoring sheet again?
Firstly, I would encourage any player. If I had players under me, which I have done because I've managed non-league, they wouldn't have the fear of missing anyway. If they'd missed, it had already been sorted out, and I'd already picked them up, and they know that they're on it for the next one. Obviously, if it got to a point where they missed a few and it was important, then you take it off. What was the question?
Did you ever go through a barren spell?
Yeah, the worst one I went through, fun enough, was I signed for Derby. I left here and went to Derby, and I thought we were playing well. I thought I was playing really well, and chances weren't coming to me, but we were getting results, and people were getting excited there. And I think it was my 5th or 6th game, and I remember it vividly because it was a very important game against that one where you've gone up into the First Division, and you think, and we were playing Tottenham at baseball ground, and a lad called Empson went down the right wing and he whipped it in at the near post, name dropping in. I got across Stevie Perriman and diving headed it back into where it came from, and that was it, and everything was fine then. And I think the remaining 12 games I scored another 8 goals. So you know, it's just that, it's keeping the belief in yourself, because you need lady luck as well. I mean, John's touched on it with the bobbly. Sometimes when it's going well for you, you miss-hit, it falls off you, and other times you hit a screamer and the keeper does a worldie, and you just have to keep going. So I would tell the youngsters, don't ever give up, and whoever's working with you, just install that confidence.
I was going to ask, we've been remiss, we
Very
should have asked
poor
you
host.
if it, yeah.
Very poor host.
I apologise.
I've travelled 1,000 miles to
Yeah.
here.
I'll have one of those bottles of champagne, please. I'll have one of them black tea. I went through one.
You went through a barren spell?
Yeah, here, under Becky.
Right.
And I remember headlines in the Evening News. Taylor couldn't hit barn ball from the yard. Yeah, really, really terrible thing for me. I thrive on people saying, "Well done, keep going." So that really knocked me. I can't tell you how I came through it. Can't tell you what happened. Can't tell you when the next game came. But I can remember that part of my football career. It's so imprinted in me as I've gone on through football and life. I try to remember that whatever happens, people aren't deliberately trying not to score goals. People aren't deliberately trying to have a bad day at work. People don't deliberately cut you up when they're driving down the road. They think they're in a hurry to get to somewhere because they have to get there. Not really.
Do you remember the goal that got you out of it?
No, I can't remember.
No. But probably went on to have a run. And
Honestly, I can't remember. It was just I can remember that just going through a spell with Ainsley for a long time, and
some big centre forwards.
I've got a question. Alan, I have to say sorry to your wife, but I fell in love with you years ago when you were scoring all the goals up here. I missed the evening when you were up here before because we were out, so I'm delighted to be here tonight.
Oh, bless you.
John, you were pretty, but you were number two.
Did you say John? I just hear you say, John, you were pretty.
No, you were pretty close,
Oh,
John.
I think he's pretty.
But number two.
I'm having number two.
You just touched on that, John. What fascinates me is you said you often hear what the crowd shouting and what they're saying, and you said how it hit you when you went. What effect does it have when people shout horrible things at you when you're playing? Does it demoralise you? Does it? Because I hate it. I'll have a go at the ref and the linesman and the other team, and I might not be happy with what's going on, but I will not shout at our own players. What effect does it have?
It can't have a good effect because if I keep telling you so enough times that you're ugly, at some point he'll believe that he's ugly. And if I tell you over a number of times you're the best looking woman in the whole world, you will believe it over a period of time.
He's a flatterer.
And that's how and that is how it works. My partner's got a season ticket at Norwich, so I have to go and watch Norwich. And 25,000 people, I haven't seen one, and we sit in the middle of the pitch, don't we? And some of the abuse that comes from the crowd, you think, why do you come? Why do you come? And we've sat here twice in the last few months, and we haven't really heard it. We haven't heard anyone moaning at people. I know there are some, because football's a fickle game. But the less you hear, the better it is. Because the people who go on there, listen, there are some people who definitely go on that pitch for the money. Definitely. Not our pitch maybe, but on a football pitch. There are people who we all think, not particularly good, just play, don't really put the lot in, right? We could all name a few. But for the majority, they try their hardest. And if they try their hardest in whatever they do, you can't really argue them, can you? You can't really shout them because they're just trying their best.
Are you asking the question of your own supporters?
Sometimes I am. Yeah. There's not, but and what I was thinking as well is that you've got the media, Facebook, the message boards, and people put some pretty horrible things on there. And I'm disgusted by it.
We never had mobile phones, or we?
I know we didn't. But we see it all the time, and I think unless you can keep away from Twitter and all these. I know Facebook and the message board. It must be horrible for some of them. I was a personnel manager, and I know what you deal with people with problems, when they have this sort of abuse. So it frankly horrifies me.
I've got many ways that I look at that. I've always said if you pay your money, you have the right, but there's a stage where it gets abusive, and that's not right. But if it wasn't our supporters, but it's the opposing supporters, I used to love that because I knew I was doing something right. And it's all about putting you off. But I think the game's changed so much now, particularly with respect. It's gone out the window. The FA worked on let's get respect right 25 years ago, and it's just got worse. The abuse on the pitch, the abuse off the pitch, the way referees get treated, and like you say, it takes very little now. It's an instant game more than it ever was, and a manager will be lucky to get a season now at any club to get a season, and it seems like supporters are capable of turning within the space of a 90-minute game now, whereas when we played they'd stick with you for 10 or 12 games with the manager, and then they'd say, I've got to start doing something, and he might do something that's half decent, and then they stick with him for another 10 or 12 games. Now he plays badly for 3 games. He's under enormous pressure. But the abuse, and I'm with John there, it can't help the home team players, the management, and because not only have they got to try and pick themselves up, they've got 25 players to try and pick off the deck.
It must be affecting them as well. Day
in, day out. As John said, he's got to just put you right down there. You wake up in the morning, And I'm sure, we never had it, but I bet they come in, I don't want to go into work. And they'll think of it like, and the moment you think of football as work, you're dead and buried, because it's a love. You know, we were really, really lucky we got paid for it. But I've carried on being in it for 25 years in non-league and not picked up a penny, because I love the game. I've still got my heroes and that sort of. But do I like the way the game's gone? No. Can't stand the Premier League. Can't stand it. I don't like the word, and we would have got flawed in the dressing room for saying it, but it's just full of cheating. It's full of cheating. You've got pulling shirts, spitting, arguing, holding, everything you can imagine. It's just not my game.
I think a lot of us are with you on that, Alan. I'll just come in with one of my own questions. You're right.
I thought you had a flash then, did you? It's got vision. I've stepped.
It's the pills, I think. Who's the real character in the dressing room in your time at the Abbey?
There was a few. I mean, anyone remember Gordon Sweetser?
Oh yes.
Albert. He was an absolute nutcase. I can't begin to tell you most of the stuff, but he would be warned by management not to get into trouble. And we went, I think it was during the season, breakaway to somewhere. And I think they used to call it then Continentals. We used to go, and we went to this gorgeous place. And said, whatever you do, don't make a... Anyway, to cut a long story short, one man who works there always used to come out in the afternoons and shout in a foreign accent, "Champagne competition on the terrace!" And Albert got hold of this. Well, he locked him in the cupboard, and he went all around the whole of the grounds, and he leaned out over a sheer crevasse that was hundreds of feet into the ocean and the sand and the beach, shouting at everybody, "Champagne competition on the," and he could have killed himself. And that's just typical of the man. The other one who was in that case was Tom Finney. I had the great pleasure of living with him at the White Hart in Fulham with Steve Spriggs in Diggs, and that was a mad house. He was just in that case. He would do the most unbelievable things. He would sit on. They used to have the heaters that you could sit on. Yeah, and he used to sit on that, and he used to do the staunch Irish sounding, bang, da 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 da, and he used to drown the whole of the. He was just a character. He did the maddest things. He burnt my hand once because he thought it was funny. We're driving in his Volkswagen Beetle into training, and he put the cigarette lighter on. I said, "Oh, you don't smoke, we don't smoke." I got a cigarette lighter and just put it on my hand and it started smouldering, and he thought it was hilarious. But he was a really good lad, and I believe he's still in the city, isn't he?
He's
still about.
Yeah, he lives in Ely.
Those are the things I could tell you. There's lots more.
Well, we'd have to hear them.
No.
What about in your dressing room? Or dressing rooms, John?
Gary played for the first year. Me and Vaughan, I don't know if you remember, we used to smoke, drink, and so we were in the back of the bus, drinking and smoking after games, thinking no one could smell smoke in the bus. Every half an hour you used to get a message come back from the back front of the bus. And please stop smoking back of the bus. Yeah, he was like you say, he was an update. Everywhere you went, he always had a smile on his face, and he was always looking for something to get along in about. Yeah, but he was a lovely lad. He had a lot of time for a lot of people. Yeah, that's what I'm missing a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, let's bring Derek. Can we? Oh, sorry, he's busy. Derek, I'm here. Hello. I don't know. Somewhere on the right wing, I think. Now, you remember the dressing room. Who was the character? Alan says the characters in the dressing room were Tom Finney, Gordon Sweetser. You got any more you can remember from that era?
I won't disagree with it. There were quiet characters as well. Steve Fallon, he never used to say much at all. I don't think he said much since he's retired, actually. There were characters like that, but Jamie Murray, Street, Lindsay was quite a big character.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and even what's his name now? Norwich.
Dave Stringer?
Dave Stringer, in a quite sort of way, they were like the control room influences.
Have you seen Dave Owen? Honestly, I saw him about 3 weeks ago. Looks about 25.
72 now.
Dave
Yeah.
Stringer. Oh,
Oh, he was a fantastic fella, and he was quite quiet, but he had a sort of subtle way about him. He used to laugh. I remember I said once I was going to live at Red Lodge. I said I was looking for a house at Red Lodge, you know, because I wanted somewhere to live in it, and Cambridge is very expensive. And all Dave said, it was Red Lodge. Red Lodge? Why do you want to live there? You know, and he was that sort of character. So he's like people who probably didn't say a lot, but he's very strong dressing.
One thing about them three, all quiet, but incredibly strong characters on the part. I mean, substance, presence. You know, I think Dave Stringer went a long way to helping Fowl develop his. I said it when I was down here last month. The best player never to play in the First Division or Premier League.
I agree with that, yeah. Any more questions, please? Stick your hand up. Yes, gentleman in the middle
Any
there.
centre halves that you would revere in your time playing against them, you know, would have given them 5 out of 5 stars?
Two, it's completely different reasons. Tony Adams, he was just unbelievable. He played for the club. And a bloke who used to play for Blackpool.
Yeah, we saw that, yeah, I saw that.
And a bloke who used to play for Blackpool called Gary Briggs. Hardest centre half ever played against. And I played against him once, and I would never win anywhere near him ever. He looked like, if you look up Gary Briggs, he looks like John Cleese out of Foley Town. But he was absolutely the hardest centre half I've ever played.
I think I played in the era where centre halves were the toughest that they could be and get away with it still. I think, you know, just as it was starting to develop, more in John's era, they couldn't kick quite so much, but they could get away with murder. But the worst for me was Graham Roberts. I didn't revere him, I couldn't stand him, because he had the ability to be such a very good player, but he was worse than dirty. He'd try and break it. And on not many occasions, I only played against him a few times, but he was nasty. You know, he was nasty. But you let that affect you, and you're dead and buried. So you just got to get up. My personal philosophy was that kick me as much as you like. If I can get up, 'cause it's not hurting, I'll smile, I'll run away, and I'll score a goal, and they can't do anything about that.
I've got a question for both of you.
Oh, yeah. You want a drink? Yeah.
Now, goal scorers have got a big ego. We all know that because you want to
He's
score.
better than me.
Yeah. And they say that scoring a goal is better than having sex. I can't remember who said that. But I'd like each year to say all the goals you scored.
No, sex is
How many orgasms have we had?
Sex is definitely better now.
I'd like to ask both of you, in your own words, what it felt like to you to score a goal.
I like a minute ago, better than sex.
What was it like for you?
He's trying to remember a goal.
I just, you know, it's I have a thing, yeah, just. I don't know if I can answer that question, just, it's like something you dream about, and you start off dreaming about playing football. And then you get that dream, and then you manage to score a goal. I don't think you can emulate. It's really hard to go back and remember the first goal I ever scored. I think it was a way of. So I can't actually remember the first one. So, do you know what I mean? But it's just the fact that I look back now and I can enjoy the whole experience of not only football but life itself, because it's just got so many tales to tell. He's a goal scorer. You know,
I've done 2 goals and he calls me a goal scorer. Well, I've got quite an easy explanation of how I see it, and that is that when I grew up and I got to about 6 years old and I wanted to play football, and I wanted to be a footballer, that's all I wanted to be, and once I knew that I had possibility, the chance of it, all I wanted to do was score goals. And I think now what I can say looking back is why a lot of people that are goal scorers say it's better than sex. Because you can continue to have sex, but you can't continue to score goals. And it makes them as precious for that moment. Because, God, this is embarrassing. Lady here.
Just waiting.
You have to answer for that when you get home.
Yeah. But, you know, those of us that hopefully stay in good health are able, I'm going to say it properly, able to make love until hopefully we're of a ripe old age. But to score in the professional game, that's appropriate, the professional game, you've only got a set pattern. Some people only get a season in it. Some people are lucky to get 15 seasons in it. But once you stop doing that, you're never going to go back and get it. And so whether you score 1 or 102, it is probably better than sex during your career.
I think when you look back, right, then you appreciate it more. Yeah.
Well, you scored a few.
You know the people who score today, the right back that comes in and whacks out the top, right? The feeling will just be of elation at the time. Right? He won't get that huge amount of endorphins that you get when you make up whatever. But over a period of time, over tonight and tomorrow, he'll then remember and remember and remember, and he'll replay it and he'll replay. That's why the questions get asked, and you can remember the great things that happen in your life. Not only, you know, football, but we can all remember getting married and having kids and being happy, and God forbid people die. You can always remember those parts of life, because that's the emotional.
It sounds addictive, because the thing you're saying about like 3 days is like till the next game, and like you're enjoying it in a moment, and when you do it, it's like a rush, and you're enjoying it in the 3 days, and you've got to go to the next game, and you've got to repeat it. So it's a bit like addictive. So if you're like, it's got good and bad things. If you're like a goal scorer, it's an addictive thing you've got to do.
Yeah.
If you go for a barrel, that's like a piss. So it's like very hard to explain. But I just wanted you to explain that, because you are like knowing goal scorers.
Well, it's a weird thing, because you can play terribly. And you know you could trap wind, but 89th minute you score the winner, and nobody remembers you had a terrible 89 minutes. That's the beauty of a goal scorer if it happens for you.
Here's a question for you. See if you can remember our first FA Cup run. So before we played against Crystal Palace, why was all the attention on them?
Scored in every round.
Okay, fantastic. So, because I scored in every round, so everybody wanted to beat me because I scored in every round. Who can remember the Woking at home? What happened? Score. Fantastic. 1.
Can't remember the others.
Think. Okay, so I got the third one.
Yeah.
He talks about things that happen. So I got the third one with about 5 minutes to go, right? And I've had an absolute nightmare. Randall Butts headline, John Taylor, who could have been taken off with 10 minutes to go, in fact 20 minutes to go, knocked in the third one.
Don't believe anything Randall Butts.
But that's the way that if it affects you in certain ways. So if that goal doesn't go in, then what happens in the future? What happens to John Taylor's run? What happens to all the adulation that gets from scoring in every round of the cup that you remember? Only the one you say is about your previous one, because you never know really when the next one's coming.
Didn't answer you about sex, they did it.
But you're only as good as your last anything.
Yes.
For you, he does HR and makes up stuff. But you know, you write, I don't know, contracts of employment. If you write a rubbish contract of employment and you get sued for something happens, it's life.
Great stuff. Let's have one more question, then we'll wind it up, please. Yes.
What percentage of your goals have been made from less than 5 steps? This is excluding penalties. So you rely on a mistake.
Are you stato or what?
No, because goal scorers nowadays, it's got so technical, and the majority of goals are not coming from individualism, they're coming from technical positions, free kicks.
So what was the question?
Where you scored like from a goal with less than 5 steps involved with it.
Would that make me a better player, 5 or less, or more than 5?
Well, yeah, I think it'd make you a very good player.
Well, more than 5.
At present day football.
I'm definitely more than 5.
Yeah.
I've never had more than 5 in my life. No, for me, the first step in the box was the one.
Yeah, that's it.
You set someone off their balance.
Yeah.
You pull off behind someone. You move across.
And you haven't arrived in that position in possession of the football. It's arrived there, and you've snatched on the chance.
Oh, well, that's then down. Oh, it's gone now. That's down to people like Derek, because you work with them in training.
Yeah.
And pattern of play, it's called, and you get in a certain position, and there's an option of 3 things they can do.
Yeah.
And you gamble, don't you, as a striker?
There is a difference between Alan and me.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah,
Alan is, without doubt, a goal poaching centre forward. Right? He was like a thing in the box. So when he's in the box, right, he nailed it. You saw it all. He got behind people and he was going to finish. I wasn't like that. Right? I was a 1 in 3, 1 in 3.5 striker who, when the chances came, occasionally put one away. Played lots of games. I'd never beat him if he had stayed at game, because he was sold for more money to go on to bigger and better things.
Yeah.
But he was a completely different. If this club had someone like him, at any stage, if they find someone, that would just make it. Because he scored when it really mattered. Short, sharp stuff. Bang, bang. Was it?
I'm paying later.
He's definitely paying the bill.
Yeah, we shouldn't keep them much longer. They're off to dinner somewhere very nice, I believe. Yeah. Listen, it's been wonderful. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you, ladies, as well. Let's give a big...
Ask them a question.
You can't ask them what sex is like.
No, don't. I'll get embarrassed.
Right, okay. On that note, I think we'll wind it up. Thank you so much. And give them a big coconuts. Biley, Taylor, what a team they would have made.